Hello, friends. As a child, we learned lots of wisdom through the fables. These fables are the simplistic stories which actually are taught to the kids in their schools so that they can understand the world. But unfortunately, when the kids grow up, they don't forget the lesson which they have learned in their young age because those lessons go at a very subconscious level. As a result, they create a delusion. They actually affect the critical thinking process of the people. So, today we are going to learn about the dangers of the wisdom of fables, which are very infantile or very childish. So, what are the fables? Fables are basically the short narrative stories that convey moral lesson. So, whenever you listen a fable, generally there will be a moral of the story. The teacher will ask you, what is the moral of the story? These fables will generally have non-human characters. For example, you will have animals, even the plant will speak, objects will speak. They all have human-like qualities. So we know that fables are impossible. They are pure fiction. There is no element of truth. Because the plants can't speak, the animals can't speak, they can't converse with each other. This is all we know from our experience. But still, these fables have a message which is useful in teaching wisdom, ethics, and values, particularly to the kids who have underdeveloped minds and who cannot understand the complex reality of the world. These fables are popular all over the world and they are taught to the children at the schools and colleges. For example, you have Aesop's fable, which are most popular all over the world. In India, we have also Panchatantra stories. So let's read some of the stories and understand what it contains and how we should not accept them as true. Now, there is a very famous fable where a thief was brought before the court, and this thief has committed numerous crimes, and he was to be given death sentence. So his last wish was asked, and the thief said, I want to see my mother. Mother was brought to the court. Then the thief said, I want to say something in her ear. When mother brought her ear to the son bite the mother's ear. Blood started flowing from there. Everybody was horrified. And the judge asked the thief why he has done such a horrible act. He said, I wanted to teach my mother a lesson because I am here because of her. When I was a young child and I made a small theft, she did not punish me. She rather encouraged that, don't worry, nobody will notice. And because she did not punish me when I was young, I started doing bigger crimes and today I am to be punished. So my mother is responsible for who I am. So the moral of the story is that the parents must teach the right lessons, right values, difference between right and wrong to the children when they are very young. Otherwise, the children will go on the wrong path. Let me tell you another story which is again very popular all over the world, and this has animals character about the wolf and lamb. There was a wolf who was actually on the uphill and he was walking on the hillside. He saw that there was a lamb on the downstream and he wanted to eat that lamb. He thought if I can get some excuse to eat that lamb, then it will be very good. So he shouted at the lamb, said, how dare you muddle my water? Now the lamb said, sir, I am on the downstream. The water flows from top to bottom. How can I muddle it? Then he said, then why did you call me by names last year? Then again the lamb said, sir, I'm just 6 months old. I was not even born. Then the wolf thought what else he can do. He said, okay, if you have not said such things, your father must have said that. And on that excuse, he just, jumped on that lamb and ate that. So the lesson of this particular fable is that any excuse will serve the tyrant or unjust people to do whatever they want to do. Now, again, this story is very popular because most of the people look for some scapegoat to shift their responsibility. Most people don't want to take the responsibility of their action. Particularly when things go bad, then they want somebody else to be responsible. If the things are going right, then they will take the credit. But if the things go bad, they want to shift the burden to somebody else. How to do that? Now, these fables come very handy to them. For example, in the wolf and lamb story, most of the people will identify themselves as a lamb. In the story of the thief and mother, most people will identify themselves as a son. So they will blame their bosses, their parents, and the leader of the country for all their problems. They will never blame themselves. Nobody sees them as a wolf. Nobody sees them as a irresponsible parents. Ultimately, we are also superior to some people in the office. And we are wolf to them. Or we may also be parents, but we never think in those directions. When it comes to parent-child, we always think like a child. We will never say that we have spoiled our children. We will not take responsibility for our children if they do any crime. But if we do our crime, we will make our parents responsible. In the same way, these two stories actually tells you how people misuse these stories. Because you will be blamed anyway. If as a superior you act against a junior, or as a parent you act against a child, then you will be called a wolf. Again, a bad person. And if you don't act, then you will be called a irresponsible mother. So both ways you will be blamed. Now, this is what is the important thing. That we have to take responsibility for action. We can't blame other people. And blaming other people will not actually solve the problem. So what are the fallacy of the fables? The fallacies of the fable is that they stereotype people and provide a very simplistic model of the world. So if you're a boss, you are bad. If you're rich, you are bad. Parents are bad because they exploit the children. Very much stereotyping. They teach the morals to the children because their mind is underdeveloped, infantile minds. And therefore, children can't understand the complex world. And so, these fables are useful for the children. But just like when we grow, we forget that there is actually a Santa Claus. I mean, as a child, we believe that there is a Santa Claus who give gift to us. But when we grow up, we understand the reality and forget. And we laugh at the concept of Santa Claus. We know that it is basically a non-existent thing. But unfortunately, when it comes to the fables, even though we grow up, we still continue to believe on those stereotypes. If suppose you are a parent and your child is grown up and still he believes on Santa Claus, you'll be concerned. In the same way, we should be concerned if the people who are grown up people still continue to believe on these fables. The grown up people must understand the complexity of the world. They must go for complex solutions, detailed analysis rather than relying on these fables. And it is also very wrong to stereotype people based on these fables, because these stereotypes are not true. Everybody has both positive and negative side. And we must not see negative things in others, because that's not going to solve the problem. We must know that, but we must also be able to see positive things. But once you stereotype, then you see only the either negative thing or good thing about the person. So it is very unwise to learn the moral of the story based on the fable, because this basically dilutes our minds. This does not tell us the truth. and we basically reach to the wrong conclusion. We can't build the relationships. So we learned about these fables today. What are the fables and how they misguide us? Remember, fables are suitable only for the children's mind, underdeveloped mind. But when we grow up, we have to appreciate the complexity of the world and found more reasonable solution which work and understand the complexity of the world to solve the problems of life rather than using fables as an excuse to justify our action and refuse taking the responsibility. Thank you very much.